guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Optibotanist coming with another video review. And today we're going to be going back in time and having a bit of a retro review with the Retro Classic Collection of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Bebop and Rocksteady. As you can see, this is part of their classic collection, but not the, fully articulated, great collector sort of figures. These are recreations of the original Bebop and Rocksteady, released initially in 1988. Now there are some changes that are done to them. I'm trying to look and see here, and the only one that I have is Rocksteady here. So I'm looking at my original one, and this is definitely a little bit different than what he looks like. So I would imagine that Bebop is also different. Unfortunately, I don't have an original vintage Bebop, so I can't really tell you. But you got this really nice kind of vintage packaging here. You got Rocksteady, you got the classic sort of looking turtles here on the back. Come around here to the back of the package, get this around here. I mean, it is the exact same. You got a bit of a read-up on the Ninja Turtles, talking about where they came from, how they went into the animated series. We're #1 in ratings for an unprecedented 5 straight years. And then you have the other classic collection turtles, including all the Turtles, Splinter, Shredder, Foot Soldier, Crank, and now we have Bebop and Rocksteady. So really cool, real fun. We're going to do this old school style. So without further ado, let's get these guys open and see how cool they actually are. Alright guys, so here we have the retro Bebop and Rocksteady open up and out of their packaging. And I don't know, I'm really left again shaking my head in pure confusion as to what goes through Playmates' minds when they do these kind of things. Now, first off, I'm going to tell you that I absolutely love the fact that they are redoing these figures and making them so that, fans can go back and get the original ones. I think that's a great thing. But one thing is, these figures, the molds have long since already been created. When you're looking at prices for figures and things, a lot of it is kind of based on how much it costs to make the molding and things like that. That factors all the way down and filters to what we end up having to pay at the stores. These have long since been paid for, in other words. So, as much as I love these, they really did kind of skimp in some aspects. Now, as you can see, both Bebop and Rocksteady come with their weapons, very iconic kind of weapons. You got the longer rifle for Rocksteady, you got this drill weapon here for Bebop. Both of them come with daggers, and then obviously little shield kind of things, whereas Bebop's is this kind of trash can looking thing, and you can have them hold it there. Rocksteady has a city sewer, manhole cover right there, and then you got the little handle right there. I'll probably be taking these off. I didn't do it, but I don't know if I'm actually going to take them off. It's just something I haven't decided yet. But for the figures themselves, for the most part, they're exactly what we got initially. Now, setting him off to the side, because I don't have a vintage counterpart, this is the original one. And I do have to thank my friend Darth Devious, who gave this to me a long time ago. It's filled in very admirably on my vintage shelf. And you can see that on the butt here, it says like 1988. But obviously it's not complete, and that never really bothered me or anything like that. I mean, it's just missing the little shell pieces here. But getting this up out of the way, one thing that you're going to notice right up front is that the pants are actually painted differently. Now, for Rocksteady, it is really not all that bad considering what they did, but you can see that the paint applications for his pants are a little bit different. The other thing that you're seeing is that the wrists, these pieces here, are no longer painted as well. And honestly, for me, there's no excuse for that, and that's the biggest thing that bugs me about this. The rest of it looks almost, pretty much identical, but like you can see that it's almost like that the pants have been redone because the stamp here is not there anymore. So, but I find it completely ridiculous that they were not able to do that. Like I said, if you're looking at the cost and stuff like that, well, it costs more money to put paint applications on there, and I totally understand that. But this is already paid for. The mold is long since been retired for the most part. I mean, molding wise, it's the exact same. Nothing is changed on it whatsoever, except for, like I said, the butt doesn't have that stamp on there anymore, but I don't know necessarily if that's a molding change or anything. So for them to not include the paint applications that they should include is completely unacceptable, if you ask me. I mean, they just straight up changed the paint entirely on the pants. I mean, you can see it's not as glossy as the original one is. So they completely changed the paint there, and then they just completely ignored the paint on his wrist sections. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Now, for Bebop, it's a little bit more extreme. Again, they did not paint the actual wrist sections right here. These should be painted silver. And again, I don't have a vintage one to show it to you. But also the red here for his jacket's a little bit darker. The vintage one was a little bit brighter. But then you can see that his belt around here, which has this nice chain kind of molding, is not painted. That was silver paint. And then you come down to the pants. Pants look pretty good, except it's all in this black plastic. The feet should actually be painted red, much like his jacket is. And then right in here, so you can kind of see where you got the pants that come down, and then right here, this section, right what I'm touching and pointing at, that was actually skin, and that was the same color as the rest of his body. Same thing right here. That's his actual leg. So you can see the pant come down. That's the flesh, or that should be flesh tone, and then you have the red for the actual boots. Again, to me, it's completely pointless that, I shouldn't say pointless, it's completely unacceptable that they don't put the paint applications to properly kind of homage those original figures. When the tooling and engineering and the molding has already long since been paid for, this is just kind of double dipping in. It costs next to nothing to produce these figures. So for them to not put any of those paint applications that they need, it's unacceptable, in my opinion. It just absolutely is. Now, again, I love the figures, and if you could not get them before, this is a great way to get them. So I do absolutely recommend it. Don't think that I don't. I just think that they really cheaped out, and that really bugs me. Now, for the articulation on both these guys, they are pretty much identical. The heads rotate left and right, although, well, Rocksteady moves left and right. Bebop here kind of tilts, I guess, like that, but there is the swivel right there. Both of them have swivels here at the actual shoulders, and then both have swivels at the wrists themselves. Then, I mean, you can see, again, this gets a little bit more limited because of the little shell sections right up here, but then you come down to the hips, and the hips are actually on ball joints. You can, I don't know if I can take it off. Oh, maybe it's wiggy. There you go. You can see it's actually a full-on ball joint. So I guess theoretically, if you had vintage ones, you could just pop out these and put the original legs on there if you really wanted to. So I mean, they are in these kind of pre-posed sort of looks. The Rocksteady's is a little bit better because it's just kind of straight up and down. Bebop here though has a little bit more of a spread out kind of look. So I mean, you know, the pre-pose usually does kind of stink for these guys, but all in all, I think that they turned out pretty decently, and obviously they can stand pretty good. I mean, like I said, I absolutely love these, and this is a fantastic way to go back and get some of those original figures. Especially with Bebop and Rocksteady now being in the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle live-action movie sequel, I think there's going to be a lot of attention to these guys. So I think this is a great way to be able to go back and get the original guys, especially during this holiday season. But as a collector, I do have to look at this and say that there are some parts on this that I really feel that Playmates kind of skimped out on. But they are absolutely great alternatives to picking up the vintage ones, which can run a lot more in terms of price. So if you are interested in picking these guys up, they are available only at Toys R Us, I think. And I don't think they're at Walmart or Targets or anything like that. I think you got to go to Toys R Us. But they are also available at Big Bad Toy Store. So if you're interested in picking these guys up, all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description where you can check out availability on these guys as well as the rest of their TMNT figures. I'd also like to mention that these figures were provided via the support of my patrons. So I would encourage you to please check out down in the video description the various people who helped to make this review possible. And if you'd be interested in becoming a patron, check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/optibotimus. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in, and until next time, I'll talk to you later.